So I called before internet BI. Okay, so life was relatively simple back then because things were kind of Newtonian, Euclidean, right? The economy moved almost slow enough to be able to predict, and you had these rules that you could follow, and you could study, and in many cases your work constituted repeating the same thing for the rest of your life. Then the internet happened, and there's a bunch of other things together with the internet, but then the internet happened, and everything, those Newtonian laws turned out to be local ordinances that only worked in certain cases, and everything moved faster, everything was hyper-connected, and certain models didn't survive. Certain models thrived, and some big companies were able to survive this transition, and a whole new set of players entered the scene.
This is the way I grew up. You did R&D, you did innovation by having smart people in buildings. Well, what I mentioned earlier is when things can be modularized and the cost of computation and communication drop to zero, that model no longer, or that model no longer enough.
Collaborative R&D is increasingly becoming the way that we essentially shape our future R&D investments by understanding early on what some of the needs are across that broader DoD lab environment.
A lot of people think that open innovation is just crowdsourcing. I think if you really get into the guts of open innovation, it's a different mindset of how do I get the most out of the assets that I have, and also how can I benefit from the assets that others have.
Down in the lower right there, you see a gentleman, Dr. Bill Casebeer, and he has been an absolute leader in these collaborative R&D activities with the Air Force Research Labs. And what I always come back to, our jobs, and this is really our strength, I think, collectively, and the strength of IRI. Our jobs are to continue to inspire, to enable, to empower people like Bill, to make them ultimately successful, and to create the environment, to shape that environment that will enable our emerging R&D leaders like Bill to grow and to flourish.